Good day, fellas. I hope you're ready for your daily dose of skill, and today we are going to be having a conversation about matchmaking on the 2.0. What kind of promises have we got from Wargaming, or how Wargaming presented this? What we paid in order to get a matchmaking this way, and how reality is looking like, and what kind of improvement we can see. There is a lot of things to talk about, so without further ado, I think the most appropriate way to start this journey would be to listen for what Wargaming had to say whenever matchmaking came, with a bit of the comedy twist, if you will. Let's see.
The Matchmaker is essential for a comfortable gaming experience. To make it smarter and more flexible, we've almost completely rewritten its core, its very foundation. So now, battles now feature the most varied possible vehicle lineups, even when there are a lot of similar vehicles in the queue.
Oh really, Wargaming? Oh really? Are you sure about this? Hello there, Phantom! How are you doing? Are you enjoying yourself? Are you having a good time? Okay, let's see what do we have. This is the 12 Phantoms. Excellent! Very good matchmaking. Oh, would you look at that? There is a 14 Phantoms. Oh, absolutely glorious. Would you look at this beauty, fellas? Would you look at this beauty? Absolutely amazing, and matchmaking is definitely foundational, and oh my bananas, that looks great. Now, obviously, I don't really think that it is a massive issue, to be completely honest with you. On couple of days a year to have a matchmaking like this, personally, I don't really care. I truly don't. But, you know, what they promise and what they deliver, it is completely different situation, and it is completely different thing. I think it is very important thing to say that.
Teams are more often built with a one-tier difference. Vehicle roles are taken into account. For example, the Matchmaker will put a Badger against a T110E3, not against a Grill 15. Teams are limited to 3 light tanks and 5 tank destroyers each. And most importantly, the Matchmaker now adapts better. It reacts to the number of players in the queue and the distribution of vehicle types and even roles, and finds the best compromise between reducing wait times and assembling the 2 most balanced teams, with the latter always taking priority.
What we know that Wargaming can talk. Good, very, very nice, understood, that makes sense. Okay, first things first, what we are going to talk about, the first topic we are going to talk about the light tank matchmaking in the current world of tanks, and how does it affect the gameplay and the core of the game. What do you see here, fellas, looking into the light tanks? Well, let's take a look, shall we? On one side, we have a Monty and we have T100, which are both great spotters, obviously Manticore being superior. And on the other side, we have a Sheridan and Tessak. How in the world it is possible to have stuff like this? How in the world it is possible? Absolute bunch of baloney, fellas. This is disgusting. It is not a fair matchmaking. It is most likely making fun out of us. Literally. And you know what matchmaking just needs in order to fix this thing? Move T100 over there and Tessak over there, or Sheridan over there, and then situation would be completely different. This video is not to punch Wargaming into the nuts. Well, it kind of is, to show imperfections, right? And to highlight the things that needs to be fixed, but in the same time to come up with the solutions to the problem as well, or to at least help to do that. That being said, fellas, before you are going to feed this game with a bunch of sausage in the comment section down below, be polite in your language if you want your comment to go through, because if you are going to wish incurable disease or let's say all it's going to be in your message curses, 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 it won't go through. That being said, there is a solution to this issue or to this problem, at least in my opinion. And looking into all of this, it's kind of easy way to do that, at least in my opinion, and it's not even a hard way to do that. Now, hear me out. Light tanks are not equal for a light tanks. That basically means Sheridan has its own unique style, Tessac has its own unique style, Monty has its own unique style. That being said, what Wargaming should do and what Wargaming should how Wargaming should balance the issues like this, which, by the way, they already done with the wheeled vehicles. Congratulations, EBR can meet only EBR, right? So they have their own subclass. Same should be with other light tanks, and I will give you an example. Would you agree, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, that nor Sheridan nor Tessac is great spotters, but they can do damage, you know? You need to try for it, right? You need to have the knowledge and you need to do the things properly, but you can do damage. That basically means give them a different class. Instead of calling all of the light tanks versatile, which I don't know how Wargaming came up to this idea, but congratulations, call those two light tanks assault vehicles, because they are mainly prioritizing not for spotting but for doing damage. Sheridan is running most likely with a big derp gun trying to find a soft target. Same goes for a Tessac. That is logical. You don't need to overthink this too much, do you? Where on the other hand, Monty is trying to spot, right, and the DPM of the Monty is far away from being ideal. Same goes for T100, right, but obviously it is already a bit different. So those light tanks which can spot and which has spotting mission in the game, right? Or I suppose to say this is why those tanks were created. You are just simply giving the support role. So you are supporting your team by spotting. That is logical and it makes sense. And after that, we could have something like versatile light tanks, which can spot and which can do damage. As an example, MX-13-105 or Kampfpanzer, right? And probably even better would be, at least in my opinion, that Monty would be only one tank that would have a supporter feature, because it is superior over any other light tank over there where the spotting goes. So MX-13-105, LT-100 and KPZ Rain Metal, or however the tank is called, it is just going to the versatile role. Simple as this. Problem solved. You have done all the job Wargaming already. All you need to do, you need to use a bit of the brain power and making the matchmaking just tiny touch better. That's all we need for a full happiness, right? And this is not even that bad as it is in the tier 8. I can tell you from my experience, in the tier 8, if any other light tank in the game is facing ELC even 90, it is a toxic experience. So what that means? That means light tanks which are supposed to spot, they are getting the certain role which is just simply supporter, and that's it. Problem solved. There is no more complaints. If there is one ELC even in one match, there is other ELC even in another match. Congratulations, Wargaming. You figured out how to do the things properly with the matchmaking. Please leave your comment down below about our solution number 1, how to match the light tanks properly and how to do the things. Do you think this solution would solve the issues and the negativity in the game or not? Now, instantly moving to the number 2 topic, and number 2 topic is matchmaking in platoons. It's not only available whenever you are playing in platoon, it is available whenever you are playing solo, because you are often meeting platoons of the players. I will give you a couple of examples instantly. which are very, very, very important, at least in my opinion. And we can clearly see that matchmaking three tier 1s against the matchmaking of the Rhino Super Conqueror EBR. What kind of problem do you see over there? You can see that the tier 11s carry so much more strength compared to the tier 10s, right? And especially whenever they're in platoon. That basically means in order to make it fair, or in order to make it more balanced, the platoon as a bare minimum needs to be the same tier and the same class. This is as a bare minimum in my opinion. So that being said, I have plenty of the examples. We can see T803s against the Mouses and Favak. Come on, it's not even funny. And I have even worse example prepared for you, don't worry. The other situation is Hirschkafers tier 11s playing in platoon against the tier 10 medium tanks. How does it even make sense to match them in the same platoon description, right? It is just crazy. It is just crazy. And now to put everything on top of that and just to highlight how disgusting this could be or how disgusting it could go, please pay attention at this matchmaking. We have 60TP, we have CS63, and we have a tier 10 Arta matched against other platoon in the enemy team, which is a bloody Stitch, Scorpion, and Blesk. Really. So in order to fix this issue, at least in my opinion, this is also relatively simple. For starters, to match the tanks in the same tier and preferably with the same classes. So if you have one assault tank, there should be another assault tank in the platoon in the enemy team. I understand that it is significantly heavier on matchmaking resources. I have no doubts whatsoever. But the point being is, it's just, you understand that matchmaking is core of this game. And if you are having, let's say, IS-7 platoon over there and you have a Stitch in the other team, guess which team is going to win, and it doesn't really depend on the skill level, right? And last but not least, we are going to talk about matchmaking as of +2, -2, +1, -1, and we will talk about this more. Now, my friends, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, how are we getting data from all of this? We are getting the data from the people that are using the index mode. So if you are not using index mode yet, I would highly recommend and encourage you to download so we can make more videos like this and to give you over time significantly more data than we already do. That being said, I really want to talk about the tier 8 matchmaking, which I think is the most brutal matchmaking out there. And that leads me to question my life choices. Is it really worth to even buy a tier 8 premium tanks nowadays? Because you are often used as a cannon folder or as a meatball in the game. Let's say you are playing your beloved Defender or any other heavy tank. You are having a situation when you are fighting against the tier 10s and tier 9s and it just feels bad. And you keep clicking that battle button in the hopes in order to get yourself a -2 matchmaking so you can be powerful against the tier 6s. And you know what data shows? Data shows that you are 10 times more likely to get matchmaking as being tier 8 against the tier 10s than as being against the tier 6s. Tenfold, fellas, tenfold. I will translate you what that means. In 100 games, you should on average see the tier 6 tanks while playing tier 8 yourself 2 games. And you are going to see the tier 10s 20 times. Do you see what I'm trying to say? It's brutal. So just talk about the math very, very quickly. Ignore the same tier matchmaking, ignore the +1, -1 matchmaking whenever you are in the mid of the pack. Let's talk about the -2, -1 and +1, +2. By doing the simple math, we are taking the number of the +1, +2 and we are getting 5% of the times whenever you are in disadvantage. More than half of your games with a tier 8, you are being bottom tier. Do you understand what I'm saying, fellas? More than half of the time you are being fed for the enemy. You are just simply not powerful, you know? You are just getting slapped by the game. Now, if we would compare this number to whenever you are actually feeling powerful or you are feeling better, you have 16 to 17 games over 100 games of time whenever you are feeling like you have a power in your hands. If you would minus from the number 55, like 16%, right? You are in disadvantage for 39% of the time. It is absolutely ridiculous, fellas. It is straight up disgusting. So I want to follow this thought through. For Wargaming, please do something about this garbage. This is not a fair matchmaking. This is straight up garbage. I can challenge every and each of you who would say for me that this matchmaking is normal. I would disagree with every and each of you. This is straight up baloney. This is straight up unplayable, honestly. And if you think it's playable, play with a tier 8 defender and tell me differently. Please do. So, looking into all of this, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, my solution to the problem is that 70% of the matches should be the same tier, straight up. If I'm getting +1 matchmaking, let's say 20% of the time, I want to see the -1 matchmaking at least half as often. I don't want to be fed to the higher tier tanks non-stop if I am not getting the same treatment in return. So, you know, to see this brutal matchmaking that you are being a top tier 10 times less often than being like a meatball in the game, this is just straight up disgusting, okay? Feel free to share your comments in the comment section down below. Would you agree with me, or do you think I'm too dramatic? Maybe I should learn how to play the game and how to enjoy beating the mouse with a defender or something, you know? Please let me know. Now, looking into the other matchmaking tiers, it is also bad. Tier 5 matchmaking, once again, we are ignoring this number and this number. You are in disadvantage 55% of the times, and you are in advantage 15% of the times. I will translate you. You are in disadvantage 40% of the times overall if you are minusing this from this. This is brutal. With a tier 6, once again, we are ignoring this completely. So what do we have? We have 22.5% against the 55%. Once again, same situation. You are playing with a tier 5, you are in disadvantage 40% of the time. You play tier 6, you have the same situation. You are playing tier 7, the situation is looking better with a tier 7, that's for sure. But yet still, this is minusing this kind of, and you are still getting the +2 matchmaking way more often than -2 matchmaking. You see where I'm heading to? But tier 7 matchmaking is actually looking kind of alright. If we are moving to the tier 9 matchmaking, in the tier 9 matchmaking, fellas, the calculation, we are ignoring this, we are ignoring this. We are having like 38% of the time whenever we are +1 -2, and we have a very similar thing in this bracket as well. How often do you feel powerful? But let's not forget one thing. It feels very different to be against the tier 11s and against the tier 7s. That basically means if we are focusing on the one statistic only, which is +2 -2, so how often do you see tier 11s with a tier 9 and how often do you see tier 7s, you can see that you are most likely or 3 times more likely to be mid-ball in the tier 11 than to be powerful beast in the tier 7. Important thing to say. Tier 10 matchmaking, as you can see, tier 10 matchmaking obviously is looking kind of Actually, it is manageable. Looking into all of this, it's actually manageable. We are ignoring this. We are seeing that over December as an example. You are top tier. 33% of the time, or I supposed to say, sorry, bottom tier 33% of the time, so you are facing tier 11s. But whenever you are combining this 27% of the time, you are feeling quite powerful. So this is actually half of the trouble. And obviously, looking into the tier 11s, they are the beasts, they are the kings, they are all the time being fed the tier 10s, and they are all the time being fed the tier 9s, but we need to keep this in mind that most of the players who are playing tier 11s, they're playing with a stock vehicle, which is just barely better than a tier 10. So I believe that's fair. Anyways, the most important thing what I want to say and to send the message overall for every and each of you, think about the matchmaking that you are getting at this point in time. Please consider, is it worth for you to play with a tier 8 whenever you are being fed to the higher tiers all the time, which is growing frustration for you, and it's just making the game unbearable or just disgusting. And I can promise you that there is not a single person who is good with math or who is good in the game who would say that this matchmaking is fair and it is good for a player. It's not good, it's not fair, it is just brutal. That being said, fellas, I know that most likely I did not touch at every and each topic out there. I am very, very well aware about the 15-5 situation, but to be completely honest with you, I don't really have a solution for this. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. I think for 15-5 matchmaking or for 5-15 matchmaking, the situation is very simple that I don't really think that the game can control this even... Although some people may think that skill-based matchmaking could fix it, it can't. You could see ranked battles, you can see onslaught, it can't be fixed. I do not know how to fix it. I'm just going to be honest. Is it a problem and is it frustrating? Sure. But I don't have a solution for this, I just simply don't. Right? So, for now, my friends, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, please leave your comment down below. What do you think about the current situation which we are in? Would you agree with my opinions about the three major topics that we have hit very, very hard? And I can promise you that I have so many frustrating bits of the matchmaking that I could make 3 more videos like this by tackling every and each of those moments. But I think that what we talked about now, I think this is the most important thing to highlight. Do you want me to start with a tier 5 lev hash in the matchmaking? Do you want to start about this now? Good, good. Let's keep that for next time. And let's talk about the price that we paid for matchmaking like this. Wargaming awarded us by removing grand battles, by removing assaults and counters. So technically, we have like 40% less of the maps or less case scenarios with more frustrating matchmaking. I do not know how about you, but I think it wasn't worth it. And if I would have known that the situation would go in this way and the matchmaking or the promises that Wargaming has made would go to that direction, I would never say, yeah, it's a fair price to pay to have a better matchmaking. And it would be, but where is our matchmaking? And to finish everything, I think that World of Tanks community do deserve better matchmaking. I am aware of Wargaming monitoring situation, and as a matter of fact, I am in talks with Wargaming where the frustrating things goes, where the matchmaking goes, you know, because whenever you are sitting in my shoes, right, or as a matter of fact, any internet beggar shoes, you are first line that is meeting the community, right? So you folks, you are seeing all the successes whenever someone is getting mark of excellence, and you are seeing all the losses as someone is coming to the stream with a 10% win ratio and saying I have been bottom tier 73% of the times. Hopefully that is understandable and it makes sense. I truly hope and I truly believe that Wargaming will have internal conversations and they will see what is frustrating the World of Tanks community and what is just simply making us sad about all the situation, right? And obviously, don't feed us the bloody garbage like this that closer tiers fairer fights. Come on, I mean, please. The closer tiers fairer fights would mean whenever you are meeting your own tier, so you are a tier 8 slapping the other tier 8, not tier 8 slapping the tier 10, you know. It's just no bueno. No more same tank armies. For most of the part, it is the case unless whenever Wargaming is giving some sort of reward for everyone, which is either for free or either very cheap, then the situation is different, but still, you don't need to promote it in this way, that's for sure. The class limits for the tactical variety, come on. I mean, let's get real. Most of the people are thinking that 3 light tanks are way too many because you are competing with your own team light tanks, and that leads to make bad decisions, and that leads for losing the games. So 3 light tanks are way too much. 3 artas, even though I haven't seen 3 artas in matchmaking in quite some time, but I can promise you that that there is only one way whenever you are not seeing Arta in matchmaking, and that way is whenever you have a mission to kill Arta. Then you are not going to see a single Arta in the game, fellas. And even triangles, there is way too many triangles in many situations. And even worse thing, whenever all of those things are going together, so you have 5 TDs, you have 3 light tanks, and you have, let's say, 2 Arta, so 10 spots are taken, and those poor heavy tanks and medium tanks that are in the game, they are such a meatballs. It's not even funny. It's unplayable. And I don't really think that it is the case that we have a smarter team composition either. The point being, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I truly believe that there is a potential to make the thing significantly better. Like I said before, I am in the talks with Wargaming as well. And hopefully we as a community can highlight how important that is. So once again, I am asking you politely to leave your comment down below. I can promise you that this comment section is going to be seen not only by me, but by Wargaming employees as well. Leave the criticism from your point of view. What is frustrating you? What matchmaking goes? Is it +2? Is it a lot of artists? Is it whatever? You know, whatever frustrates you. And I truly believe for a brighter future. I truly do. And, you know, it's not the most pleasant video to make, but sometimes we need to do what we need to do for a greater good, if you will. Thank you very much for watching. I very much appreciate you. You are amazing, fellas. Keep up the good work, and please be polite in the comment section down below. That being said, thank you very much for watching, and see you very, very soon. Skill is out for today. Peace.